Welcome, sweet friends, to the channel Frugal Money Saver. My name is Emmy. My husband is Paul. We're an early retirement, debt and mortgage-free couple living in the Hudson Valley area of New York. And our videos show you how to have a full, abundant life while spending less money. If my voice sounds a little stuffy, it is. I've been a little under the weather the last couple of days. So you're going to be seeing and hearing a lot more of Paul this video because he was great and stepped up to the plate. I want to preface this video by saying every form and every stage of frugal living is welcome on this channel. We have people who are just starting out. We have people who have been frugal their whole lives. Whatever your situation is, wherever you are in your frugal journey, I guarantee you're going to find something helpful and encouraging here in this channel. I think what's happened with all the price increases outside in the world, from heating oil to gasoline to electricity, everything has risen. I know our property taxes, our school taxes, everything is going up. So I think what's happening is frugal is the new normal. I think people are realizing now more than ever, we need to watch our pennies. We need to find ways to save. We need to encourage each other on our frugal journeys. People who are frugal are not looked at as weird or different anymore. I think more and more people are realizing this is the way to live. This is what we have to do to live right now. And that's okay because we will get through this and we will get through it together. So with that being said, I just want you to know whether you are just starting out and this is your first day of a frugal lifestyle or you've been doing it for 70, 80 years and you're just here to encourage us as much as we hope we encourage you. So let's get to today's video. First thing we're going to start with is because it is autumn, there is a plethora of apples and pumpkins and squash, all wonderful foods that are in season right now, are economical and so delicious. So the first thing we're going to start out with is an apple bread recipe. It makes 2 loaves. It's absolutely delicious. And remember, when that bread is in that oven, throw in some potatoes. Cook your dinner alongside of it. We don't want to waste fuel now more than ever. So we're going to start with that. Then Paul is going to show us what we're doing for autumn composting. He's also going to show the container garden and what it's doing in the second week of October. And then we're going to finish up with a crock pot acorn squash recipe. So just sit back, relax, and let's enter autumn together. Turn this camera around. Let's get in the kitchen.
All right, guys, I'm going to be out of my comfort zone, but Emmy and I are going to be making 2 loaves of apple cinnamon bread. Apples are in season now in the Northeast, and they're delicious and they're cheap. So let's get this thing going.
The first thing you're going to need is 3 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, half a teaspoon of baking soda, half a teaspoon of salt, and about 3/4 of a tablespoon of cinnamon, half a cup of raisins, 2 teaspoons of vanilla, half a cup of oil, half a cup of white sugar, and a half a cup of brown sugar, and 4 apples. I'm not even sure what these apples are, what kind, but any kind of firm, slightly tart apple will be perfect. And what we're going to do is grate them. The wonderful thing about this recipe is it makes 2 loaves, so that's always a win. So Paul's going to give me a hand. Let's get to work.
Okay, I did a poll. I forgot to mention we need 2 eggs. So add that to your list of ingredients. I'm going to start by grating the apple. And I'm going to grate them with the skin on. We washed them real good. So here we go. So I'm using the large side of the box grater. You want to make sure that you're not going all the way to the core. You don't want to have any of that hard or the seeds or anything mixed in here. So here we are. We have our beautiful grated apple. Let's see what it looks like. Oh, wow. Can you see that? Look at that. Perfect.
You know, I always tweak the recipes just a little bit. It called for 2 cups of white sugar. I looked at the reviews and sure enough, everyone was saying it was really sweet. What I did was, I did 1 cup sugar, but I did 1/2 cup of brown and 1/2 cup of white. I figured the brown would give it that caramel type flavor we're looking for in an autumnal apple bread. So we're going to add this in. We're going to give it a quick mix, and we're going to put the timer on for 15 minutes until that sugar dissolves with the apple. Finish mixing it, and now I'm going to put the timer on for 15 minutes. A lot of liquid is going to be visible when we are done with this 15 minutes. But that is how you want it. That's perfectly fine.
While the apples are sitting for their 15 minutes, we're going to add our dry ingredients to our flour, and we're going to whisk this together. I whisked this all together, so now I'm going to bring back the apples. The apples have been sitting 15 minutes. Look at that, huh? Boy, I could eat it just like that. We're going to be adding 1/2 cup of light flavored oil to our apples. We're using canola oil. We're going to add 2 eggs. Now it's calling for 2 teaspoons of vanilla, but vanilla is very expensive, so we're going to cut this down to 1. So there it is. 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract and 1/2 cup of raisins. Fold this all together, mix it in well. Everything is mixed together, so now we're going to add the flour. We're just going to mix this until it's incorporated. You don't want to overmix it. Our oven is preheated to 350 degrees. Okay, so I mixed everything together and it looks great. And now I'm going to put this into 2 greased loaf pans for baking. Remember, folks, I am a professional. So now we're going to bake these at 350 for 55 minutes, but our loaf pans are 2 different sizes, so we're going to check them with a toothpick. We're going to keep an eye on them so they cook evenly. Now we're going to add our turbinado sugar, and that just gives a nice crispy top to it. What's neat is Emmy took an empty spice container. Instead of throwing it out, we cleaned it out and we use it for the sugar, so you can top all kinds of treats with it. It's great. I use it when she's not looking.
I'm like watching and I'm like, Paul, okay, enough sugar.
Is this good? I don't think anything's coming out.
Yeah, no, it looks like it is.
Very good. Into the oven it goes.
These loaves cooked for 50 minutes. Look at how golden, delicious they look. These just look so beautiful. Let them cool in the pan for about 30 minutes. Then I just took a butter knife, ran it around the edges, and look at how beautiful they are. You want to give it a slice, Paul? Let's see how these came out.
How thick?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Look at that. Oh yeah, this is a win. Absolutely beautiful.
I made that?
You made that.
Where's the butter?
We are going to eat one of those loaves now, and I am going to freeze a loaf for later. That recipe came out wonderfully. I will link the original recipe down below. Of course, I did tweak, like I said, with the sugar, a little less vanilla. I think the tweaks were absolutely fine and delicious. So this is a great autumn recipe to try. Now we're going to take you outside, and Paul's just going to show you a little bit what's going on with our container garden. And yes, it's still producing. When we recommend container gardening, we really mean it. So come this spring, I want you to start getting in the mode, start thinking already now what you are going to plant to grow your own food. So let's get outside for a minute in this beautiful autumn air and let Paul do a little composting with you.
Welcome to our container garden. This garden did absolutely well, but unfortunately, the season is changing and the poor little guys are just starting to give up their last bit of fruit. I mean, look at this. We still have some tomatoes. Look at this little cluster. Aren't they beautiful? Container gardening is such an economical way to grow your vegetables. You can move them around your patio, get them into the sun. If you live in an apartment, maybe you can put them in a window. So what I'm going to have to do is, the ones that I can't keep any longer, I am going to remove the plant and add the soil back into the compost pile. This way it'll rejuvenate over the winter, and then next spring we will redo this all over again. This is just wonderful. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to pull out this little weed because we don't need him in the compost. Get rid of the tag, and we're just going to pull this guy out and shake him off. Now this little guy is going to go into the leaf pile, not into the compost. And there's the soil. Okay, this is our compost container, and as you can see, we put anything from the kitchen scraps, no meat, no bones, but eggshells, corn on the cob, pineapple, whatever you got goes in there. Here's the soil from our container garden, and we removed the plant, and now we're just going to put this back into the compost. And what this is going to do is it's going to rejuvenate this soil. So next year I can stir it up, take it out, and redo it. And this works out beautifully. After we put the dirt into the compost container, we like to take like a pitchfork or a shovel or a hoe, whatever you have, and you just want to stir it around. And you want to make sure you stir this up until the point where it freezes, once a week or so, and that'll make the compost break down evenly, and it'll just be really, really rich and hot for the summer.
So that, I hope, was some information on how you can compost throughout the entire winter. Start your compost now if you haven't. The nutrients in that compost enriches the soil you grow your vegetables in, above and beyond. We cannot recommend that enough. And again, I am sorry for this stuffed up sounding video, but I did want to get on. I didn't want to miss a video, and I'm actually feeling so much better. So forward and onward. Now the last segment, what we're going to do is just show you how to take a humble acorn squash, which right now all the squashes, butternut, acorn, spaghetti squash, all these squashes are in season now, and they are at deep, deep discount prices. This is one of Paul's absolute favorite recipes. Let's get into the kitchen for one more time.
We bought this little squash in the grocery store, and since it's two of us, one is more than enough. This is an acorn squash. And what we're going to do is I'm just going to cut it in half and put it in the crock pot and just let the crock pot do its magic. So let's watch. You want to be careful splitting this thing in half with a knife. I had to really work at it. If you've worked with squash before, you know they are real tough. I'm going to scoop out the seeds, just using a spoon to pull this all out. Nothing fancy. So I'm just using a fork and I'm poking some holes into the flesh of the squash, but I'm not going all the way through. You don't want to have this fork go all the way through because you're going to have a mess in your crock pot. This is going to allow the seasoning that I put in to infiltrate this delicious squash. Okay, with the crock pot on low, we're going to add half a cup of water to the bottom of the crock pot pan. And this is going to help steam the vegetable as it cooks. Setting the squash into the crock pot in its little water bath. Now a tablespoon of butter in each cavity. Now we're going to put a tablespoon of brown sugar with the butter in each one. We're going to add a little pumpkin spice to give this thing a little extra flavor. Just sprinkle it on there. Give it a nice shot of the stuff. This stuff is great.
I wanted to add, if you don't have pumpkin pie spice, you could definitely use cinnamon.
Since Emmy's holding the camera, she can't stop me from doing this. This is pure maple syrup. I'm just going to add this.
Oh no. Oh, that does look good.
Just like that, eyeballing it. Look at that, huh? Now we're going to cover it. We're going to set it on low, and we're going to cook it for 5 hours. Or until the flesh is tender with a fork. Now remember, squash and pumpkins and all this good stuff is in season now. We're always talking about buy stuff in season. Hey, these guys have been cooking for 5 hours on low. Wow, look at that, huh? All that goodness in there that's seeped in, that's done. That is really, really good. You're gonna eat that right out of the shell. So let's try to get this plated without spilling. So here it is, already. We just put them in a bowl, and all you do is take a spoon and you just scoop out. You dip in that liquid right there. That liquid's really hot, so be careful. And that's how you eat it, just like that. It is fantastic.
That could be a dessert. I'm not kidding. So delicious. Now, I know a lot of people use the microwave to cook their squash. We don't have a microwave, so that's not an option for us. And if you want to try it in a little bit of a different way, oh, this is so delicious. It really is. We just paired it with some baked chicken and a tossed salad. It was really delicious. So give that one a try. Today's question of the day. Where are you in your frugal journey? Are you just finding this frugal lifestyle now with prices being so out of control? Are you a seasoned frugalist? I love that word. I don't even think it's real, but it's so fun. That have been practicing this lifestyle for many years? Or are you a moderate? You kind of jumped in a couple of years ago and you're just loving the benefits of a frugal lifestyle. Wherever you are, share down below. And that will not only encourage Paul and I, but also our viewers as well. And we thank you for being here as always. Please give this a big thumbs up. It really does help us so much. If you have not subscribed yet, come on in, click that subscribe button. We'd love to have you. We ask you to stay well. We ask you to be safe. And above all, we wish you blessings. Until our next video, may God bless you.